The next book was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. No, is that, or Animagus, or Animagi? Animag? Maybe near the end of 2021. Oh my gosh, my voice is sterling. Hi, I'm Zoe and welcome back to my booktube channel, Book Hooked. Yep, I'm sick, so I have a cold. It's been like a hot second since I've had my normal videos out on Wednesday, which is when I normally post, but since it's the holidays and a lot of family's been here and my book for the holidays readathon vlogs, it's been really hard to get a normal video out, and here I am trying. I don't know if this will come out on Wednesday, hopefully it will. We're gonna try. But this will come out hopefully on the 30th Wednesday. So yeah, it's the end of the year. It really is. It's basically the end of the year. So I thought I'd share with you guys every 5-star book that I read this year. I didn't start keeping track of all the books I read until July, which is when I started BookTube and when I got Goodreads for the first time. I don't remember every single book I read this year, but since July I've read like 80-something books, so I don't remember if I rated any other books before July 5 stars, but we're just going to go with what I do now. So, the first book I'm going to say is Winter by Marissa Meyer. This book was the last book in the Lunar Chronicles series, and it is so amazing because all the characters just come together and have this epic battle, and it's amazing. And I loved it so much, and there was no way I couldn't rate this 5 stars. It was just perfect. And the next book is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I read the first 2 Harry Potter books, and I'm like, yeah, this is good. It's just like the movie, really. There's a couple extra stuff, but it's not like really interesting. Harry Potter 3 was like so good. It had so much extra stuff, but it was actually important about like Lupin and other characters being Animagi, and like a lot of backstory behind the Weeping Willow, and there was just so much, like, it was really great. And The Prisoner of Azkaban's always been my favorite movie, and I loved this book so much. There was so much backstory and stuff I needed to know, and it was really, really great. So yeah, I give it 5 stars. And then the next ones I'm going to go ahead and just put together. I rated Enola Holmes number 2 and number 4. They were both about this one character, and every time she was in it, it just made the book so good, and I loved the mystery the most. The other books weren't as great mysteries, but I loved the mysteries in these 2 specifically. I don't remember them much, but I do remember loving the mystery a lot. And I gave them 5 stars. And then I gave Black Widow Forever Red 5 stars. It is just a book about Black Widow. It has nothing to do with the comics, really. It does feature some Marvel characters like Iron Man and Hawkeye, but it doesn't have any of the storyline that Marvel is doing right now, but it was so, so good. She was exactly like Black Widow would be. It was written really well, and it was just a great, it was Marvel in a book, and it was really written well for Marvel. And I really loved it. I read The Hunger Games for the first time this year, and as you probably know, the Lunar Chronicles and The Hunger Games are my favorite series, and so clearly I gave The Hunger Games 5 stars because I read it in one day, and it was so amazing. I was open to all this YA fantasy and dystopia, which is like my favorite genre, and it was just so amazing, and I loved it. And I can't say I gave The Hunger Games 5 stars without saying I gave Catching Fire 5 stars, because Catching Fire is the second book in the series and also my favorite book of all time. It's freaking amazing. Read it, but read The Hunger Games first, but read it. Just get to it. And I think it was such a great continuation. Like, I never thought the big event that happens in Catching Fire would happen. I hadn't seen the movie, so I didn't know it would happen, but it happened, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know how they were going to continue the series, but they continued it. Then I rated Tobosos 5 stars, which is what I like to call the Battle of Songbirds and Snakes. I think right now I would probably give it 4 stars. I liked it a lot at the time, but I really didn't like the third part. I'm sorry, my voice is probably cracking a lot, and it sounds really weird because my nose is clogged and my throat is really scratchy, so it sounds like a guy going through puberty. I would probably give the Battle of Songbirds and Snakes 4 stars right now. I really liked the first 2 parts a lot because it gave a lot of backstory on the Hunger Games and how it came to be, but if you don't know, it's the prequel to the Hunger Games, but I did not like the third part at all. It was just not great. I would probably give it 4 stars now. And then I gave Cursed by Jen Kalanita, the 5th or 6th book in the Fairy Tale Reform School series, 5 stars. It was a great conclusion. It's a middle grade series, so it wasn't like, you know, this is like a really great 5-star book, but I gave it 5 stars because there was nothing really wrong with it, and I thought it was concluded really well, so yeah. And then I gave Legend by Marie Lu 5 stars. It was so incredible, and I'm really excited to get to Prodigy, hopefully in 2021. It was just so good. I loved the story. It was just something new, which with dystopia books, they're all usually around the same thing, but I liked how it was written, and I loved the story. It was different and I loved it. And then I gave The Darkest Minds by Alexander Bracken 5 stars. Again, right now I probably would have rated it 4 stars. It was a really good story, but I'm not completely obsessed with it now. I probably would give it like 4 stars now. It was a really long book and it was like tough to get through, like just because of how many words and size. It was hard. Then I gave Divergent 5 stars. I read this for the reading rush in July along with Legend and The Darkest Minds, and it was so good. I think I kind of want to reread it because I just read Insurgent and Allegiant recently. Insurgent was good, but it didn't feel like a Divergent book. And Allegiant wasn't as great. I gave it 3 stars, but it wasn't awful. But I loved that book, and it was so great, and it was amazing. I loved it. And then I gave The Titan's Curse from Percy Jackson 5 stars. I think I'm gonna probably reread the Percy Jackson sometime, just because I read all 5 of them back to back for the first time this year. And guys, I'm sorry, please don't make fun of me. I can't. There's nothing I can do about my voice right now. But The Titan's Curse was my favorite out of all 5 of them. I didn't really love the Percy Jacksons so much. Like, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, Percy Jackson, but I did really like the series. I think it would have been better if I spaced it out, but when I read them back to back and no other books in between, it's hard because too much of a good thing is like kind of bad sometimes, because like when you read so much of it, it's like you get bored with it. That's kind of how I was. So if I want to reread these but take time in between, and I think I will like them more. But I loved The Titan's Curse. I loved the characters and Tyson and all and everybody that came in, and I loved the warrior ladies. I forget their names. It's been a long time since I've read them, but I loved The Titan's Curse. And then I reread Cinder this year, and it was just better than the first time I read it, and I loved it. And then I gave The Chronicles of Narnia 5 stars. I read it for school, and it was so quick, and it's always enjoyable. I read these a long time ago with my family. It was just amazing to reread this again. And then I gave My Secret Guide to Paris 5 stars, which I also reread. It's a middle grade favorite of mine. I honestly, right now, I probably would give it 4 stars because I'm not that into middle grade anymore. And then I gave Skyward, the graphic novel. Oh gosh. And then I gave Skyward oh my gosh. And then I gave Skyward, the graphic novel, 5 stars. It was also really good. It's about like this anti-gravity zone. Their whole world becomes like no gravity, you know, and so they're all floating around, and it's a really cool sci-fi story. I don't know, I really liked it. I am so sorry. I feel the pain of a teenage boy now. The next book I read was Whispers in Autumn. I really, really loved this. It was so good. I couldn't help but rate it 5 stars. It's a lot to explain. It's a big plot, but please go check it out on Goodreads or somewhere. But just check it out because it was really amazing, and I really loved it, and I think it's totally worth reading. It's underrated because I don't think anybody's heard about it. 2021 is going to be my year of finishing series I've started, and then after that, reading a bunch of unpopular books that no one's heard about, because there's so many books I've looked on Goodreads and they like sound amazing, but there's only like 300 people that have read them, and I'm like, there's so many books that they deserve more, and they need to get attention, and I feel like I would want to be one of those booktubers that would love to have videos about books you've probably never heard of that you should read. Like, I really want to get those books attention, and I really want people to read them, but I feel like people are kind of scared to read them sometimes because they're not popular and no one talks about them, but it's just because they're not popular authors, so they never get heard about, and I want to be someone that will help those books get seen, and Whispers in Autumn is definitely one of those series. I'd never heard of the author or book, like, I've never heard of it, the author or the book, but it's so good, and it is a quartet, and you should really read them. It was amazing. Adding on to that, I read the sequel, which is Winter Omens. I also gave it 5 stars. I read that this month, and it was incredible. Next, I gave Beast Boy, which is a graphic novel, 5 stars. I read the first one, which is like Raven or something. I didn't really like that one that much. I don't know. It was fun. It was like cool, and it was very Beast Boy-y because I loved Teen Titans Go as a kid. I have to say, I still watch it sometimes for a laugh, but it was like the best cartoon, and I love Beast Boy. It was really good. So thank you, Sherilyn, for letting me find out about that because I hadn't heard of it. And then I reread Maybe, which is a book like Little House on the Prairie kind of. It's like about this little 12-year-old girl that is sent to be like almost like a maid for these for this couple, but they ended up leaving for a certain reason, and they never come back, and so she's really scared, but it's winter time, and I don't know what I'm doing. This is me fidgeting. But she gets stuck in this soddy, as they call it, so this house in winter, and the snow traps her in, and it's about this little 12-year-old girl who tries and survives, and it is so, so good. It's written in verse, and it's beautiful. And then I read Far From You by Lisa Schroeder. It was so good. It was so pretty, and I really loved it. And then I read The Guinevere Deception, which I also gave 5 stars. I really loved it. I love the, I don't know how you say it, like Arthurian, I don't know, tales, but it's King Arthur and Guinevere retelling, and it was so good because it was so historical, which I love. That historicalness, and then it mixed with fantasy and magic was just really great. Looking back on it, I probably would give it 4 stars right now, but it was really great, and I loved it. And then the next book I read was Heartless by Marissa Meyer. There's nothing I can say, but I loved the heck out of it. It is a retelling of Queen of Hearts, and basically it's like how she became mad and how the Mad Hatter became mad and how I can't say that, I almost spoiled it. It is so freaking good. Like, I love Marissa Meyer. And then this really short story called COVID-128, also by Marissa Meyer. It's about the Lunar Chronicles characters and how they would deal through COVID. And it's like the movie binger, the game creator, like the one that eats too much. Like she put like every person in COVID in like all the main characters' positions, and it was so funny, and it was really good to see all the characters again because I was so sad when the Lunar Chronicles ended. So the fact that she made this little short story, it was just great. And it was brilliant. I loved it, so I gave it 5 stars. And then I gave Skyward Volume 2 5 stars. I don't remember what this one was about much, but it's a continuation to the graphic novel series, and I really liked it. And then I have Kingdom Keepers, Disney at Dark, and this is the first book in the Kingdom Keepers series. I reread it, and it was, I remember why I loved it so much. It was so good. I'm totally rereading the series. It was amazing. And lastly, Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, I think. It was written beautifully. It went by so quickly. I read it in one day. Just had to give it 5 stars. Comment down below and tell me if you guys would like to see like another video like in January of like my 4-star ratings, my 3-star ratings, and like my 2-star, 1-star, and DNF ratings. 2-star, 1-star, and DNFs could be all together. But tell me if you guys would like to hear all that of my reading in 2020. Just let me know. Tell me what some of your favorite 5-star books that you read in 2020 down below. I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't and turn on the notification bell to get notified every time I release a new video. Comment down below. I love to talk with you guys. I post every Wednesday. I will get back on track with that. That was just because of the read along vlogs. It was really hard. But I will get back on track on posting every single Wednesday. And like this video if you did. Bye!